Hydrogen is the lightest element in the periodic table. It is a gas under normal pressure and temperature. It is not naturally present on Earth, but has to be produced from substances containing hydrogen. The hydrogen molecule is made up of two hydrogen atoms. Oxygen is also a gas, and the oxygen molecule is made up of two oxygen molecules. Approximately 20% of the air around us is oxygen. The remainder is mainly nitrogen. Hydrogen reacts with oxygen and gives water. During this reaction, the bonds between the atoms in the hydrogen and oxygen molecules are first broken. This requires energy. The free atoms, which now contain more energy than the original molecules, combine to water molecules. When the bonds in the water molecules are formed, more energy is released than what was needed to break the bonds in the hydrogen and oxygen molecules. When this reaction is started, for example by help of a catalyst, it will continue by itself, very rapid, and produce energy. The reaction is called exotherm, and the released energy may be used for heating or to generate electricity. Most of us have at school been made familiar with the term oxyhydrogen. We made this by first producing hydrogen in a reaction between a metal and hydrochloric acid. The hydrogen gas was let down in a tube where it mixed with air to form oxyhydrogen. The gas was ignited, resulting in a small explosion. The explosion may occur under more controlled conditions in a car engine, similar to combustion of gasoline. In fact, in the 1930s, several models of cars were driven on hydrogen. The combustion may also be controlled in a nozzle, for example to boil water. The most feasible way to extract the energy from hydrogen is to let it react with oxygen in a so-called fuel cell. In this, the same reaction as in an explosion or a combustion takes place, but the released energy is trapped as electricity, which may empower an engine, for example in a car. The function of a fuel cell is here shown by two hydrogen molecules which are led into the cell from a storage tank. The bonds in the molecules are broken on the surface of a catalyst made of platinum. The binding electrons are released, resulting in positive hydrogen ions or protons. The electrons are collected and passed through a wire to an electric engine, which rotates, and further to the other side of the fuel cell because there has to be a closed circuit. Here they react with an oxygen molecule which is supplied to the cell from the surrounding air. In the reaction, which takes place on the surface of a catalyst, the oxygen molecule is split into two oxygen ions, with two negative charges on each. These oxygen ions react with the positive protons, which have passed through a membrane. The membrane is passable for the positive protons, but not for the negative electrons, so they have to pass through the external circuit. The product of the reaction is water, which is drained from the fuel cell. Fuel cells work like batteries. The difference is that the active components in the fuel cell are gases which are delivered to the cell, while they are solid components inside an ordinary battery. Everything that emerges from a fuel cell is energy in the form of electricity and clean water. In fact, fuel cells in spacecraft are used to produce drinking water for the astronauts in addition to electricity.